I have a great one for you all today. It is a $5,000 grant. And if you're new to grants, grants are debt-free funding, which means that you don't have to pay the money back. And so you can get grants from a variety of different organizations. My favorite are corporations because they're pretty consistent at giving out grants, and they typically open the door so that business owners from all different backgrounds are able to apply. Grants don't end with corporations. You can also find grants on the government level. Think federal, state, and local. And when it comes to government grants, they do issue out a lot of money. Think millions of dollars. But what you do need to know is that when it comes to government grants, it does depend on who is in the White House. And as we've seen in the news, a lot of programs have gotten cut. But I don't want you to lose heart because there are still opportunities. And the $5,000 grant that I'm going to share with you all today is sponsored by a super successful businesswoman that is dedicated to giving back to her community. And so the most important trait that small business owners need to have when it comes to applying to grants is a growth mindset. It's very important to have the belief that you have a good chance of winning. If you automatically reject yourself by not applying, you are missing out on this huge opportunity. And so I want you to go into any grant with a growth and positive mindset. So the best free resource for applying to grants is my business grant checklist. This walks you through the entire grant application so that you're not surprised by any stage of the process. And so it really does walk you through the important steps that you as a grant applicant will go through, even up to you receiving the grant funds and using it within your business. You can access this amazing resource in the description below. Now that you have the resources for success, let's jump into all the nitty-gritty details that you want to know about this $5,000 grant. And so if we scroll down, we're introduced to a video by Nancy Twine. And this is where she goes over the program as well as what it offers. And so this would be something key that you would want to watch to have a good understanding of the grant. So the first step is getting really good at understanding all that this grant is about. So as you see, it talks about what you'll experience. And so it says expert-led sessions, the tools to grow, as well as an opportunity to pitch your brand for the chance to win $15,000. And so if you look more into the rules, it looks like 3 business owners out of 10 that get chosen to attend this workshop will then be able to pitch their business for $5,000. But it doesn't stop there. This workshop and other grants just like it often offer mentorship, courses, networking, and other opportunities. And so oftentimes you receive so much more than the money when it comes to these grants. They even have a curriculum because they realize how important it is for you not just to receive funds, but education as well. And so it goes over topics like cultivating a resilient mindset, as well as impactful marketing and supply chain dynamics. And so you're going to learn really good information by attending this workshop. Now let's get into some of the eligibility requirements. These are standards that your business does need to meet for the judges to consider your application. The first requirement is that your business does need to fall within the consumer packaged goods or CPG industry, which means that you have to have a product that consumers typically use over and over again, either on a daily or weekly basis. And so your product does need to fall into one of these categories listed right here. In addition, your business does need to be a legally registered business in the US. And so no matter where you're from, even if you're outside the US, you can legally register a US business. And so by far the easiest business entity to set up is an LLC. And you can set up an LLC yourself by going to your Secretary of State website, or you can use a business formation company like Taylor Brands. And so Taylor Brands can take care of everything for you, including branding, a virtual office, and all the really big essentials that you need in addition to LLC formation. And so if you need an all-in-one service, I've left a link to Taylor Brands in the description below. And so you do need a legally registered business in order to qualify for this $5,000 grant. The third requirement is that you're committed to showing up to each of the 8 workshops. workshops. And so there will be workshops where you'll get access to trainings, a network of entrepreneurs, as well as a host of other benefits. And so you do need to show up to these 8 workshops in order to apply to this grant. And then lastly, you will need to be over the age of 18. And so if you fit those 4 requirements, then you should be good to go in applying to this grant. And then it goes into the eligibility requirements, which I discussed with you earlier. Next, it talks about these instructors. And so these are going to be people that are going to be walking you through how to grow your business during the workshops. And so you do want to do your research on these founders so that you're prepared when you meet them. And then what I really like and what's really important for you to take note of and add to your calendar is the timeline. And so they've clearly written out the timeline in 5 key steps. They talk about when the grant opened. They also mention the deadline in step 2. And so you have until March 31st of this year, which is about a week and a half away, to submit the grant application. And so typically speaking, you don't want to wait till last minute. You want to at least leave a cushion of 48 hours so that you're not cutting it too close. And one thing that I really like about this grant is that they're going to let you know by April 11th. And so I've seen with other grant programs, it can take anywhere between 1 month to 2 months to let you know. But in fact, they actually take about 11 days, which is really nice. And then we have the beginning of the workshops. And so you'll attend workshops from April 21st to May 16th. And then for step 5 will be the pitch the panel. This is where 3 entrepreneurs will be selected to win $5,000 in grant funding. One more thing that you should read up on and take note of is the FAQ section. In any grant that you see, the FAQ section is a great place to go to see commonly asked questions. And so one important thing to note is that with this grant application, they are accepting up and coming CPG brands that haven't launched yet. And so if you're in the pre-launch stage, you can still apply to this grant, which I think is pretty amazing. And so once you feel confident that one, you qualify for this grant and you have important details about the founder, it's now time to apply. And so once you're ready, you can click the apply now button. It's then going to take you to this page. And so to the right, you're going to see the grant application, and to the left, you're going to see details about who can apply as well as steps to apply. And so Nancy did a really good job of breaking down the key information you need to know. And so you can apply to this grant in 3 steps. So it says step 1, submit your application by March 31st at 11:59 PST. Step 2, selection process. They will review applications based on eligibility criteria and the potential impact of the workshop on their business growth. And then step 3, notification. If selected, you will be notified via email by April 14th, 2025. You must confirm your participation within 48 hours of notification to secure your place. And so when it comes to grants, you want to be intentional. You don't want to go on vacation April 13th through the 18th and miss being notified about this grant. And so it's important that you factor in not only the time to apply to this grant, but also being able to check your email when they say they'll notify the winners. And so now that you know the 3 steps to apply, let's take a look at this grant application. And so generally, it will ask for your personal information first, then it'll ask for your social media handles. Moving on, it'll talk about your business information. These are qualifying questions. You want to make sure that your business falls into one of these key categories. Once you get these questions out the way, you will have 3 short response questions. The max character limit is 500. So you do want to pay close attention to the questions that they ask as well as the character limit when responding. And so a really helpful tip that I would suggest is that you don't answer the questions right on the grant website. I would actually copy and paste the questions into a Google Doc and then have the space and room to write out your responses. And what's great about writing it out in a Google Doc is that you can do spelling and grammar check. And so this is important just to make sure that you're clear and you have no mistakes in your writing. And so once you fill out the entire grant application and you feel good about it, then you can hit the submit button. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments below, and make sure to check out all of the resources in the description. I can't wait to see you next time. Thank you so much for watching. Peace, stay building.